You surprised me, Dr. Smith. You surprised me. Hey guys, Daniel here with a new video. Still a bit tired from school, so I just need something to do before I do it all again the next day. But today I am finally here with this video that I've been wanting to do for like 10 long months now. I should have done this video like a long time ago, but here I am with this new review, and I'm finally here to review the very anticipated and exciting second season of Lost in Space. So season 2 of Lost in Space picks up where we left off, where the Robinsons have ended up through this like wormhole or portal, which ended up landing them on another planet, and it basically follows the same as season 1, where they tried to get to the Resolute, and while on the Resolute they have to survive certain catastrophes, as well as Will Robinson still trying to communicate with his best robot friend, and that's basically what the second season is all about. I will admit I'm not going to give the first season the same grade I gave it a year ago, because basically a year ago when I reviewed the first season I gave it a 5 out of 5, and I don't think it's like a 5 out of 5 now. I would consider it 4.5 out of 5 stars, probably 4.5 out of 5 stars, but other than that, as you all know, I absolutely love Lost in Space. It has emotionally satisfying drama, awesome visual effects, spectacular writing, great performances, awesome music. It just had an excellent combination for a great Netflix show, just like Stranger Things. And so, last year when they announced the second season, I was so excited, and the trailers for the second season just get me more excited. And I saw it like when it first came out back in December 2019, and I really should have done it then. I've been watching it again like for a few days now, and I still feel the same way as I did in December 2019 when the second season first came out, because guys, I love the second season. I absolutely love the second season. I think I love it more than the first season, because it amps up the drama, it amps up the visual effects, it amps up the characters, and it adds up the stakes that we never expected this show to go. I was so hooked to the show, and whenever I try to watch the second season, I watch like a few episodes one day, and I wanted to watch more, but I keep getting distracted or I had to go to bed. But this show has been keeping me engaged through the first few days of school, and I absolutely love it for that. Let's talk about the characters first. Starting off with my favourite character in the show now, Will Robinson. This season makes him much more responsible and much more determined to find the robot than he did in the first season. And he has honestly became my favourite character in the entire show. Well, him and the robot are my favourite characters in the entire show, because even though it could risk some endangerments, he is still determined to find this robot and is willing to bring peace among other versions of this robot, because they're like enemies, but he's willing to bring peace to the world. He still cares about his family, and he honestly has become the main character of the show, because unlike his family, he will bravely lead the way in some dangerous situations, even standing up to some robots at one point, standing up to the people against the robots, and basically standing up to any bad guy at all. And the relationship between him and the robot is still there, as strong as it was in the first season. And although the robot doesn't get as much screen time in this season as he did in the first season, he is also much better in this season, because we get a few scenes dedicated to him on his own. Like, without any characters around him, it's just him on his own. And although we never see what he actually looks like what his like face is like, he doesn't have a smile or some eyes, we can sometimes tell when the character is feeling. Although sometimes it is kind of hard to see what he's feeling, but it's still there. And to be honest, I've just realised Will and the robot are kind of similar to Hiccup and Toothless from the How to Train Your Dragon movies. I mean, think about it. In the first season, Will has found a robot, like a character has found like a pet or a machine, and is trying to prove that the machine or pet is not dangerous, and teaching them human-y things. And in the second season, there's more than that one machine or pet, and the main character's trying to bring peace to these people, but they are fighting against each other. That sounds a bit similar to the How to Train Your Dragon movies, but still, Will, excellent. Now, in my opinion, the other best character in this season, like probably the second best, who goes through, honestly, the best arc in the entire season, but also kind of the entire show, is Dr. Smith. What started off as a manipulative and effective villain who will do whatever it takes to get what she wants, she's now turned into still the same thing, but is trying to show the Robinsons that she can help, but is also trying to rise to the top to take control over everything and everybody. I thought she was great in season 1. She is awesome in this season because we get more development with her, we get to see where she's coming from, she has a fantastic backstory, and there are some points where she does have to team up with the Robinsons. Even though the Robinsons don't fully trust her, they will risk using her in order to get what they need, in order to achieve their goals. And she does have a few experiences, and we get to see her bond with the Robinsons more truthfully, because the bond that she had with the Robinsons in the first season is non-existent, because it was just based on some lies that Dr. Smith was telling. And again, we get to learn more about her backstory, we get to see where she's coming from, and after season 2, particularly the final episode, I cannot disagree with how much I like Dr. Smith now. And I kind of hope she comes back for season 3, because I don't want to spoil anything. The visual effects in this season are mesmerizingly beautiful. They have amped up since the first season, although I don't know if they amped up since the first season, because it kind of looks the same at some points, but it has to be the best visual effects for a Netflix show ever. Yes, even better than the visual effects in Stranger Things, because while the visual effects were good in Stranger Things, it did look a bit fake. Although the third season did kind of amp up the CGI, but Lost in Space's CGI, wow. The way that the robots look, they actually look like they were there, and it almost made me want to touch them, because again, they look like they were literally there. And the music is fantastic. I don't remember a lot of tracks, but the music also amps up the intensity, but also the dramatic parts of Lost in Space in general. There's also a new robot character named Scarecrow, and I'm not gonna lie, this character is just as fascinating as the robot that we all know, because the way that they introduce this character, Scarecrow is like nervous about touching humans, because all he can do is just like scratch them and attack them, but with the help of Will and his robot, he is able to change and is freely willing to stand up to protect his new friends. And this character is so interesting, and again, just like Dr. Smith, I hope he comes back for season 3, because I cannot wait to see more interactions between him and Will's robot, and the fact that there is another robot character that turns to the good side, it's going to lead into something very exciting in the next season. If there's one quote that Penny Robinson says in this season that I agree with, it's this: as far as I'm concerned, one robot might be an exception, but two, maybe this is the start of something big. There's also another character in the season called Ben Adler, who has some sort of connection to Scarecrow and does serve a huge purpose to the story, as well as a very cool bond between him and Will, because they both have some sort of connections to the robots, which again I'm not going to spoil, but it's so interesting to see another character who has a sort of connection with another robot species that Will is going to have some emotional connection with, which I found very cool. The emotional moments in this season are spectacular as well, because it's so sad, especially towards the end, where a character has to make a very hard moral decision, and they're trying to ask themselves whether or not they should do this action, and when they do the action, it's so emotionally satisfying. And speaking of emotionally satisfying, the last thing that I really loved in the season is how it ended. I'm not going to spoil how it ended, but let's just say that the ending of the season is a great ending to a middle chapter in a trilogy of 3, either a 3-season or a 3 movies. This is one of them, because the ending of this season is kind of similar, not very like, but sort of similar to the ending of The Empire Strikes Back. It has so many questions that I'm excited to hear get answered in the 3rd season. That last line that Judy Robinson says at the end of the season, wow, that is even more exciting. I am so excited to see what is next for Lost in Space. It's going to be one hell of a final chapter in Lost in Space 3. I am telling you that right now. Now, a few cons are just nitpicks. They don't really detract from the season. They're just kind of irritations. Like, some characters are still kind of annoying, like Maureen, Judy. I mean, they're not bad. I still love them. In fact, I kind of love Maureen much more in this season than I did in the 1st season, because she has more emotional connections with the characters, and she also has to make some very hard decisions. I forgot to mention that earlier, but I think I love her more in this season than I did in the 1st season. Some characters do kind of, like, get pushed to the side because they could have had potential, but then they kind of missed that potential. Like, there's another new character called Samantha, who I will admit is kind of fascinating, but after the 3rd episode, they didn't really do much with her. I mean, I hope she gets more focus in Season 3, because I kind of want to see more of her character. But those are just small gripes, because overall, I love this season of Lost in Space. Like I said, it ups the excitement, it ups the drama, it ups the characters, it ups the visuals, it ups the music. It's just much better than the 1st season. I still love the show. I cannot wait for Season 3, and I'm going to give this season a 5 out of 5. And if you haven't seen Lost in Space at all, go check it out. It is amazing. But if you've seen the season of Lost in Space, what do you think about it? Do you love it as much as I do? Do you think it's emotionally dramatic? Or do you think it's kind of boring and you felt like some scenes go on for a bit too long? And what season of a Netflix show is much better than the seasons of any Netflix show, because it ups the ante and it ups the dramatic interest? And what are you excited the most about Lost in Space 3, without spoiling anything in the comments? Let me know in the comment section below. And more videos are coming, and Daniel will be movie TV shows, doing videos, as well as loving the show. Cannot waiting for Season 3, just like Stranger Things. The filming Daniel, obviously. Till then, peace out, man.